It's homecoming week on the pod today with both Suzume and Shino Suzuki heading back to their hometowns. We'll review Back to the Hive and preview She Knows Her Way, one guess on whose show is whose. We'll also chat some news, some excursions, and wish a very happy birthday to Rise Shirai. All that and more coming up on the Tokyo Joshi Pod. Stay tuned. Hello to all you big children out there. Konnichiwa and welcome to the Tokyo Joshi Pod, your weekly dose of everything TJPW. I'm your host, Andy Zyke, and we've got a homecoming to chat this week. Two, in fact. TJPW's schedule seems to be slightly slowing down, or at least maybe returning to what it was last fall with roughly one show a week. And honestly, it's a bit welcome. As much as I love watching TJPW, it does free up quite a bit of time to watch some other things, some other wrestling, some TV shows, some movies, and just do some other things with summer right around the corner. Of course, I live in Southern California, so not to rub it in, but the weather here is always quite nice. But for those of you who are in more variety climates, more winter climates, I hope that summer is coming for you all pretty soon. I know that it's starting to get dark really late anymore, 8, 9 p.m., which I absolutely love that. But hopefully for all of you, summer weather or maybe spring weather is on the way or in full swing here. Since we only have the two shows to cover this week, today's episode might be a little bit shorter of an episode than usual, but regardless, I thank you all for joining me nonetheless. Today on the show, we're going to review Suzume's homecoming event, Back to the Hive, and then we're also going to preview Shino Suzuki's homecoming event, She Knows Her Way. Did you get both of those right when I asked you in the intro? If you didn't, I don't know if you're a real TJPW fan. Love the names for both of those shows. I think they are terrific. TJPW always has such really creative names. In addition to that, we are also going to check in on Yuka Sakazaki, who is challenging for the Ring of Honor World Women's title this weekend. Also this weekend, we have Aja Kong's 40th anniversary show. That's going to be a huge one. So we're going to touch upon both of those and a little bit of news and our usual zaniness as we dive into TJPW this week. It's actually also been a pretty quiet news week, so there's really not much to discuss in the news segment, but the only major item that came out this past week is that TJPW announced that they are planning a, quote, super special event after Standalone 2-6, which is our next Korakuen Hall event. Standalone's going to be on Sunday, June 7th. So about maybe 3-ish weeks away or so. Typically after their Korakuen Hall events, TJPW holds meet and greets. Sometimes they are in the immediate vicinity of Korakuen Hall. Sometimes you have to take a quick train or a 20-minute walk to get to wherever the venue is. And they're very standard meet and greets. You take a 2-shot or a 1-shot and then you get an autograph. Well, for this one, they are holding it at Prism Hall, which is literally across the way, across not the courtyard, but it's right next to basically Korakuen Hall. And they are saying that they're going to be having this, quote, super special event. It will be larger in both time and space, so meaning that it's going to go on for a little bit longer than usual, and the space that they're in is going to be a little bit longer. And they claim that they have other events planned beyond just the standard meet and greet. More details to come on what those are. I don't know if any of those events might be similar to maybe some of the fan events that they've done in the past where they play party games, or maybe I don't think they're going to do the wedding dress thing. That seems pretty specific to that one fan event. But who knows what this could be. I will admit that in a normal news week, I probably wouldn't bring this up as news because I don't think it's going to be anything overly exciting, but it's been really quiet this week as it relates to TJPW stuff. So I needed to fill the news segment with something. So here we go. We have our super special event. we'll keep our eyes on it and see if it does actually turn into anything worth covering further. And then I mentioned it in the opening as well, but we do have a birthday this week. On Tuesday, May 19th, Rise Shirai will be celebrating her 25th birthday. Our current ring announcer for TJPW, Rise Shirai, has been doing a very good job, I have to say. She's been doing the ring announcing, I want to say, for, if it hasn't been a year yet, she's very quickly coming up on a year. She's certainly grown on me. She's a very different flair than like a Sayuri Namba, but like that being said, she's different than, Yuki Aino was, and all of the other ring announcers that came before her. Like, every ring announcer is different. I know a lot of people had specific thoughts about Rise when she initially took over because, she's trying to fill these ginormous shoes of Sayuri Namba, but I do think Rise is doing a very good job. I think she's finding her footing as a ring announcer within TJPW. Loved that she got involved in the Super Sentai match at Grand Princess where she was kidnapped. So I think little things like that, she finds her footing, she gets more comfortable. But regardless of what I think about how her job performance is doing, a very happy birthday to Rise Shirai on Tuesday the 19th. Jumping in to our event review of the week, one event, Back to the Hive, Suzume's Homecoming Show. This event actually took place last Wednesday, May 6th, but based on the upload schedule for Wrestle Universe, this was a video on demand. It actually just got uploaded over the past weekend. So we're going to talk about it in depth today. Back to the Hive emanated from the Tsukuba International Congress Center Multipurpose Hall in Ibaraki. That is the full name of the venue. If you Google it, all of those words come up. Quite a long name for where this show was held. This was about 2 hours, typical TJPW house show length. There was one absent competitor, that was Mifu Ishida. She had a scheduling conflict, and so she was unable to appear on this homecoming show for Suzume. This is TJPW's first time in the Tsukuba International Congress Center Multipurpose Hall. In fact, I think it's their first time in Tsukuba overall. So no previous attendance figures to look back at. But in a bit of exciting news, for the first time in this city, TJPW actually sold out the venue. They drew 310 spectators. So quite impressive for your first time running a city. And very encouraging for someone like Suzume to sell out her hometown, her homecoming show. We opened up with Rise Shirai giving the opening remarks and the house rules, and then the Up girls sang Kawatsuyo Challenger. We haven't heard that one in a couple of shows. And for the start call for this one, we actually had Shino Suzuki give the opening start call. We opened up with a singles matchup, Yuki Aino, the Burning Venus, one-on-one with Shion Kanzaki. I'm not sure what Shion Kanzaki's nickname is. I know that she gets announced with a nickname. I can't quite make it out when it is announced, and I don't think that it's been publicized anywhere yet. If you know, let me know, because I would love to know what her nickname is. But this very typical Shion Kanzaki match. Yuki Aino started out in control early, outpowering Shion. Shion got in a few quick roll-ups. Then she performed that new bit that she's been doing in the corner, where she climbs up on the rope and she does like this call and response with a microphone. It's kind of a fun bit that she does. It really taps into like her history as a performer and a singer. It didn't really take too long for Aino to get back in control, though, using a lot of her strength. Shion did manage to squeeze in a few of her patented back elbows, but Aino ends up hitting a gut-wrench suplex and then locks in the full Nelson of Love and Fire in 7 minutes and 21 seconds to pick up the victory. Our next match was a three-way match, Raku versus Himawari versus Hyper Misao. Before the match got started, during Misao's pre-match mic performance, she said that the Gotham City of Northern Kanto is located right here in Ibaraki. What are the odds? She tries to get Himawari or Raku to join her in defending her hometown here, Gotham City, but they end up teaming up on her instead. Raku, though, quickly turns on Himawari and then decides to briefly align herself with Misao before she turns on Misao and then hits the Oyasumi Express on the two of them. Misao is quick to her feet, though, ends up tripping up Raku using Himawari's hair. Raku insists that Misao gets back down on the mat, but obviously Misao is like, what? No, why would I do that? Misao then goes to work on Raku's arm for a little bit. Himawari returns back into this one, starts whipping Raku with her hair. Raku fights back and gets in like a grounded hammerlock submission. That's the best way I could describe it, which really neat. I haven't seen Raku pull out that submission move before. Himawari does get to the ropes, though, using her hair. I always love that spot from Himawari. Each of them then trade some pretty quick offense. Himawari locks in a double single-legged crab on both opponents at one time. If you kick one leg from both opponents and you have it at the same time, is that just considered a Boston crab instead of a half crab? Who knows? Misao ends up hitting the I Am a Hero dive on Raku, and then she cradles Himawari with the La Magistral cradle for the win in 7 minutes and 57 seconds. Our third match was a tag team contest. Kira Summer and Wakana Uehara were together on one side of the ring, and on the other end, Kick Slash teaming together yet again. I'm going to call them Kick Slash for now until they decide to change up their name. They're supposed to give themselves a new name in the near future, but for now I will refer to the Sakura and Miyu Yamashita team as Kick Slash. Wakana and Sakura square off pretty evenly to start us out. Then Yamashita makes pretty quick work of Kira, and Kick Slash go on the early advantage of this one. Kira swings like some desperation offense in, manages to tag Wakana back. She does her best against Yamashita, but Kick Slash start to get pretty kicky with Wakana. She manages to eventually tag Kira back in, though, while Sakura enters as well. They have a pretty nice back and forth power versus speed. Kira gets in a Boston Crab. Wakana tries to go for the banana pillow, but Yamashita says no way to that, shoves Wakana down, kicks Kira directly in the chest. Things break down a little bit with Kick Slash once again getting kicky with it. Sakura then hits her flying forearm, the Rakataicho, on Kira Summer. She gets the win with that forearm in 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Still no word yet on Kick Slash's new name. They just quietly left the ring. Up next, we saw another singles contest. Shoko Nakajima went one-on-one with Pom Harajuku. Pom was like toying with Shoko to start. She was really frustrating Shoko. Shoko ended up chasing her around the ring, but Pom tossed Shion in the way and like kind of scampered off into the backstage area. Shoko was so frustrated at this point that she was just taking all of her anger out on Shion while the crowd was just booing her like crazy and chanting for Shion. She even like tossed her in the ring at one point and was like stomping on her. Pom then reemerges from the back wearing an inflatable alien abduction costume. The best way I can describe this is that there was a giant green inflatable alien that was holding a fake inflatable person, and Pom's face or head was the head of the person, but then her legs were in the alien, and the alien was like holding the person from behind. Pom starts like flailing all around, pretending that she's getting abducted by this alien. And like credit to Pom, she went all out in this inflatable. Shoko too, credit to Shoko, she acted very concerned and like she was engaging in a tug of war with the alien. Eventually Pom just dropped the act and she was like, "You idiot, it was me all along." Basically like if you're in a tug of war battle with someone and they just decide to drop the rope and you go flying backwards, that's essentially what happened here. Back in the ring, Shoko tries pinning Pom, but the referee rules that it is the alien's shoulders on the mat. It is not Pom's shoulders. So Pom tries to take advantage of that, but she gets too caught up in like throwing her voice to sound like an alien. She kept doing that repeatedly throughout this match. That allowed Shoko to come up behind her and unzip the costume. Shoko was like, "I got you now, you dingus," and she rips the costume off Pom completely. She lands in a bit of offense, but Pom is somehow able to counter. She gets on the offensive here with a shin attack and then a top rope drop kick. She then decides to aggressively, and I use that word intentionally, put the costume onto Shoko. And once it starts to inflate, Shoko goes bananas thinking that she's getting abducted by aliens, which I don't know if I follow that logic quite well. You just saw the costume came off of Pom, but regardless, they then, all of them do this like weird do-si-do with the referee. Pom lands the Lafare Harajuku on Shoko while she's wearing the costume, but she can't pin her because it's the alien's shoulders on the mat. It's not Shoko's. So we get some consistency there at least. Shoko then uses the loose legs of the costume to hit a 619, which was awesome. And then very, very gently German suplexes Pom with a move that TJPW is calling Alien's Brow Ridge to win this matchup in 9 minutes and 57 seconds. Credit to both of these ladies for some pretty good, pretty entertaining physical comedy. And yes, this went on for almost 10 minutes. It's not going to be for everybody. I thought it was fun. This is your typical Palm Harajuku performance, your typical TJPW like goofy match. Shoko can, improvise with the best of them when she's in there. Comedy is certain. She's not above comedy in any way. So if you like comedy, I recommend you check that one out. We then had another tag team contest. On one side, we had our number one contenders for the Princess Tag titles, Mizuki and Uda Takami, and they took on the team of Haru Kazushiro and Chika Nanase. Mizuki and Uda kicked at the handshakes to start, and they cheated their way onto the early advantage. Much to the disappointment of the crowd, they were getting booed quite a bit. Haru and Chika get in some light offense consisting of some crossbodies, some shoulder tackles. Chika even manages to latch on the Inari Tori briefly, hits Uda with like a very stiff elbow butt, but this was mostly the Mizuki and Uda show. They're like tuning up for their upcoming Princess Tag Challenge at Standalone. Uda ultimately submits Chika using the Koala Clutch at 8 minutes and 24 seconds. In our semi-final match for the show, we had a tag team match that was our first Princess of Princess preview tag. On one side, we had our Princess of Princess champion, Yuki Mirai, teaming up with Shino Suzuki. On the other side of the ring, we had the number one contender, Yuki Kamifuku, teaming up with Toga. Arai and Kamiyu started out pretty evenly, dodging each other's big boots, wrenching each other's arms. Arai managed to even block the eye poke as well at one point. Shino then goes on the early attack against Toga, giving her a tour of the ring, but Toga is able to use her size to overpower Shino. Kamiyu tags back in. She gives Shino a tour of her own, showing her her boot right to Shino's face in the corner, which I thought that was a nice Kamiyu flair. We then get a brief showing between Arai and Toga before Kamiyu tags back in with her springboard big boot. She hits a few loud chops onto Arai and ends up slapping on the octopus stretch. They trade big boots, but Arai stuffs a Famouser attempt into a full Nelson Buster. She immediately and probably unwisely tags Shino back in. Shino quickly loses any advantage that her team had and gets locked into submission that Arai has to come back in and break up. Kamiyu then fires up on Arai with some forearms and some chops. Toga hits a fallaway slam to eliminate Arai. Shino tries for a belly-to-belly, but Kamiyu ends up hitting a brainbuster and then the Famouser to put this one away in 9 minutes and 50 seconds. A short preview tag and no real extracurriculars afterwards aside from just some light chirping from Kamiyu. Backstage, we did get a few comments. Arai said that she has researched anti-aging, but is confused because tomorrow is her birthday and she is aging up, of course. That's what you do on your birthday. So she has these clashing of ideas here. She's aging, but then she wants to anti-age. Shino points out that Arai uses this very expensive face serum in her skincare routine. And Arai is then just okay, fine, twist my arm, I'll buy the entire line. But it's not because I want to, because I have to for this title match. Shino ends up saying that she will buy her the cheapest one for her birthday present. We get some comments from Kamiyu as well. She says, Arai feels a little bit more steady and solid than before, now that she holds the title belt. She asks Toga her opinion on her performance today, and she said she needs to continue asking younger women for their opinions if she wants to have any success in this title match and with this anti-aging agenda. Our main event was a 6-woman tag team match. We saw Daisy Monkey on one side, Arisu Endo and Suzume in her hometown, teaming up with Mihiro Kiryu, and on the other side, we had Daydream, our current Princess Tag champions, Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi, teaming up with Ren Kanatsu. The crowd was allowed to throw some streamers in the ring, only for Suzume, and boy, did she get a boatload of streamers from her hometown. And what a way to kick this one off, as we got Suzume in there with Miyu Watanabe. No real advantage coming out of it. Maybe there was a slight edge to Watanabe, but it was certainly giving me flashbacks to their Itinyon match. Then we get the best rivalry of the last 6 months in TJPW, Mihiro versus Rika. They trade offense before Rika ends up choking her way into tagging in Ren Kanatsu. Ren falls victim to a body slam from her own teammates in some very innovative trios offense. Daisy Monkey puts a quick stop to that, allowing Mihiro to apologize for sometimes calling Ibaraki Ibaragi. The crowd really enjoyed that. Daisy Monkey then do their normal song and dance, and we get our first look at Arisu in the match. We also saw pairings of Mihiro and Ren, Mihiro and Miyu, complete with a big-time giant swing onto Mihiro, and then also Miyu and Arisu. Miyu manages to double body slam Daisy Monkey, and then Daydream hits some tandem offense of their own. Suzume and Rika then have a nice exchange, with Suzume nearly hitting a ring-a-bell. Ren comes back in and avoids a Suzume facebuster. She hits the Kanatsu Crush, and then she tries for her Ares Comet, but Suzume runs up on her in the ropes and ends up hitting a facebuster. Daydream and Daisy Monkey briefly face off as all hell breaks loose at this point. Mihiro runs in and single-handedly takes out Daydream. Good for Mihiro. We then see a very cool triple team attack with Suzume hitting a facebuster on Ren, Mihiro sidewalk slamming Rika, and Arisu connecting with a jumping knee to Miyu. All of that clears the way for Suzume to line up a ring-a-bell on Ren and emerge victorious in her hometown in 15 minutes and 58 seconds. Suzume gets on the mic afterwards. Thanks everyone for coming to the first TJPW show in Tsukuba. Out of nowhere, Mihiro rolls her up to much confusion by everybody. Mihiro grabs the mic herself and says, sorry, wrong belt. I was thinking of a different belt. I thought I could win that title real fast and anytime, anywhere, 24/7, but wrong title. Let me issue you a challenge instead. And they then decide to set the fight for a standalone on June 7th. And Suzume then closes out the show without any further interruptions or roll-up attempts. Backstage, the comments were a little bit more serious than what we saw in the ring. Mihiro says that she challenged because Suzume is very important to her, and she views her as a best friend. And she said that when she's interested in a belt, her instincts kind of take over a little bit, and that's what led to today's confusion with the roll-up. Basically, it was force of habit. Suzume, on the other side of things, was very happy to have a special match in her hometown with people who mean quite a lot to her in both Arisu and Mihiro. She said that Mihiro's challenge was unexpected, and she isn't sure if she fully understands the rules of the belt. Well, Mihiro better learn them pretty quickly, because in less than a month, she has her second International Princess title challenge. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good show for a house show. The crowd was really, really into it throughout the entire event, which probably raises it a couple of levels. I'm surprised the first preview tag for the Princess of Princess title was so short, but I think there's a few more on the way. I think they're doing 2 or 3 more at least. Maybe they'll kind of build off of this one. Suzume seemed really, really happy to have her first homecoming show. In terms of recommendations, I would recommend the main event. The main event was quite good. And honestly, I'd recommend the Shoko and Palm match just for the acting alone. Of course, if you like comedy, you will like it as well. That wasn't our only homecoming show though, because coming up this weekend, on Saturday, May 16th, She Knows Her Way, Shino Suzuki's homecoming show, going to take place at the Shimizu Marine Building in Shizuoka. This one will be video on demand, unfortunately. However, we do not have to wait too long because Wrestle Universe is scheduled to publish it on Tuesday the 19th. We do have a couple of absences as well. Shoko Nakajima and Yuki Kamifuku are missing this show. They are both scheduled to compete at Aja Kong's anniversary show on this day. We have a 7-match card for this one, 3 singles matches, 3 tag team matches, and a 6-woman tag team match. Now, we don't know the match order per se. We only know the main event, which will be one of the tag team matchups. So let's start with the singles contests. In one of them, we're going to see Wakana Uehara go one-on-one with Shion Kanzaki. In another one, we're going to see Hyper Misao one-on-one with Mifu Ishida. That's probably going to have some shenanigans involved in it. And then the third one, we'll see Yuki Arai one-on-one with Kira Summer. Big test for Kira in this singles matchup. A couple of the tag team matchups are going to see Kick Slash going up against Rakupam. Feels like easy work for Kick Slash. Maybe I could be wrong. Who knows if we'll see some aliens or inflatables or dinosaurs or pillows, whatever Rakupam has up their sleeve. But maybe we'll also get the new name here for Kick Slash. I'm patiently waiting to see what Sakura comes up with. She has taken on that task herself. The other tag match will see Daisy Monkey team up to go up against Mihiro Kiryu and Chika Nanase. This is going to be our first preview tag for the International Princess title match. Chika kind of feels like she's in there to take the pin. But that said, I am really looking forward to seeing Mihiro and Suzume square off, see their chemistry. When we have two competitors who state that they are best friends, their chemistry in the ring is usually really off the charts. So I'm really eager to see what that looks like. Then we will have a 6-woman tag team matchup as well here. Daydream going to team up with Ren Kanatsu, so that team stays together. And on the other side, they're going to take on Mizuki, Uda Takami, and Yuki Aino. So this will be our first Princess Tag Team preview matchup. Again, seems like there's someone kind of standing out here to take the fall, and that's Ren, but we'll see. I mean, maybe they surprise us and they end up having either Mizuki and Uda pin maybe a member of Daydream or vice versa. But I am really looking forward to seeing those clash of styles. Of course, we've seen Mizuki take on Miyu one-on-one, Rika one-on-one. We've seen Uda take on Miyu as well, but I'm curious to see how the tag team offense, the strength and power of Daydream, how that squares off against more of like the speed and the kind of that like fluidity, that ability to dodge quite often, that craftiness of Mizuki and Takami. And our main event of Shino's Her Way is going to feature Shino, go figure. We will have a tag team contest, the Bumping Gritters coming together, Himawari and Shino Suzuki. They're going to take on Toga and Haru Kazushiro. So not only do we have Shino in the main event here, but we have an all like next gen main event. These are all members of the 2023 class. So this will be exciting. I think that the chemistry here is going to be great. It's a huge stage. It's a house show, of course, but huge stage to have a main event with 4 very young talents, up-and-coming talents. All 4 of these women have been really proving themselves over the last, I mean, gosh, for some of them, even just the last like 3 to 6 months. But really, when you look at the last 12 months or so, all 4 of these ladies have been really growing tremendously. So I'm really looking forward to this show. I think we have some fun things sprinkled in here. I do expect more of a traditional house show type feel, but there is some fun mixed in here with Kick Slash and Rakupam and 2 preview matches, one for the IP title, one for the tag titles. Unfortunate that we can't see Kamiyu and Arai square off quickly here again, but that is coming up. I know TJPW just put out their match card for, I think it's the 22nd, the show that's in Shinjuku, and that does have a preview tag on it. It has one of those like super preview tags. So we'll talk all about that. We'll preview that show next week. The one last little thing, the footnote I want to mention here for the Shino Homecoming show, this is where we're going to see Ref Mike make his TJPW debut in Japan. So shouts to Ref Mike, friend of the show. I know he likes to listen to it. Best of luck in your travels. Best of luck here for this Shino Homecoming show. I know you're going to crush it. But everybody make sure you show some support to Ref Mike as he is really leveling up his career, heading on over to Japan, and he's going to have a great time over there. And who knows, maybe he'll be refereeing some of these crazy fun matches alongside Fumarine. We'll just have to watch and find out. We'll jump on over now to talk a couple of graduates, a couple of excursions. On the graduate side of things, Yuka Sakazaki will be challenging for the Ring of Honor Women's World title. Now, this matchup is going to be a survival of the fittest match, I think they call it. It's going to be taking place at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, which will be airing the same day that this episode comes out, Friday, May 15th. So perhaps you are listening to this before, maybe a little bit after, but regardless, this is a 6-way matchup. Yuka Sakazaki is in there. Of course, Athena, the current Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. And then the other challengers are Zeta Steel, Trisha Dora, Billy Starks, and Maya World. This is going to be fun. I don't think that Yuka wins. I would be surprised. I just don't see why. I'm not saying that she's not deserving of it. I think it would be awesome and be great to see her actually do something a little bit more substantial in Ring of Honor / AEW. But I also just don't see the story that they've told up to this point for it. So would be pleasantly surprised if she wins. This does feel like a moment where you can have two challengers pin each other. I don't know if there's like special rules to this survival of the fittest match. So you might be like yelling at me through your headphones right now. If I am like mistaken with these rules, I apologize. But it does feel like a moment where you can have two challengers pin each other and have Athena drop the title without getting pinned. Athena has been this champion for like something insane, like 1,200 days or something like that. So this feels like the opportunity where they could take it off of her, but who knows? We might be on the Athena train for another 1,200 days. I'm looking forward to this. There's a couple of other good matches on the Ring of Honor show. Most of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views are pretty good. I believe that they air them all on Honor Club. Could be wrong about that, but I think they are all on Honor Club. So if you want to check this one out, we will, of course, talk about it on next week's show, whether or not Yuka becomes our new Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. There's one other graduate that I just want to briefly mention. That is Mirai. We know Mirai is coming to the standalone show in June in a couple of weeks. Well, in the interim, Mirai is participating in the Catch the Wave 2026 tournament in Wave. This is like historically difficult to watch. I've tried to watch the Catch the Wave tournament in years past because they always invite in a number of competitors. There's a number of different blocks. They have freelancers. They had stardom people in the past. They always have different folks that are involved, but I'm never able to track it down. If you know how to watch the Catch the Wave tournament, let me know. I can let everybody here know, but Mirai will be or is already participating in this Catch the Wave 2026 tournament. On the excursions side of things, nothing new, so I'll just quickly whip through some of the ones that we have our eyes on. This weekend, Saturday the 16th, is that Aja Kong 40th anniversary show, Dreamfest Dream Festival. I'm really excited about this one. Not only do we have Shoko Nakajima and Yuki Kamifuku on this show, but there is a who's who, a murderer's row lineup of Joshi talent. We have the likes of Unagi Sayaka, TJPW alum, Momoko Hanazono, Hiroyo Matsumoto, Rina Yamashita, Shuri from Stardom, Takumi Roha from Marvelous, Chihiro Hashimoto from Sendai Girls, Kakeru Sakaguchi, Haruka Umasaki from Diana. There's a handful of other names as well. And then we also, I'll touch briefly upon the two matches that have TJPW talent in it. Shoko Nakajima, there's actually been an adjustment to this match. Aja Kong tweeted out that she announced it incorrectly at first. So Shoko Nakajima is going to team up with Rina Amikura, and then they're going to take on the team of Mika Iwata from Sendai Girls and Sora Ayami from Marvelous. Originally, Shoko and Sora were paired together, or mistakenly, I guess I should say, but it will be Shoko and Rina taking on Sora and Mika Iwata. And then what I imagine is the main event, Aja Kong has put together this exceptional 8-woman tag team matchup. We have Aja Kong, Kaori Yonayama, Ryu Mizunami, and Hikaru Shida from AEW. And on the other side, there's Yuki Kamifuku, Veni, so we got a little bit of a Veni reunion, Sayori Ano from Stardom, and Nagisa Nozaki from Marigold. Heck of a show that Aja has put together. I love that the community is kind of rallying around her and coming together for her. I suppose that Mahiro ended up not getting the invitation if she is scheduled to be on the Shino Suzuki Homecoming show. So unfortunate that Mahiro was not able to get that Iron Man title and earn an invitation here. But I think that this show will do just fine. No offense to Mahiro, but there is quite a card put together here for Aja Kong's 40th. In other anniversary news, we got our eyes on the Choco Pro Apple Universe, the 8th launch. This is the 8th anniversary show for Mei Suruga, taking place on Sunday, May 24th. We know that Suzume will be participating on this one, and Mirai as well. I don't think that they've announced matches yet, at least not as far as I've seen, but I will do a little bit of research into that, and on next week's show, we'll let you know what these matches are. A little ways away, we have the Eve 150 show on Friday, June 5th. History Makers, Rule Breakers. This is where Miyu Yamashita is cashing in her challenge. I don't know if she's earned the right. She's become the number one contender for the Eve International Championship. This is going to be her championship match against Chris Statlander, who who is the current Eve International Champion. I would imagine, given the timing of this on June 5th and then standalone on the 7th, that Yamashita will not be on standalone. Hasn't been announced yet, so maybe she will be. But once that full card comes out, we'll obviously have a better idea there. But I would be surprised if she wrestles on Friday, flies back Saturday, and then wrestles on Sunday. It's possible, but I would be a little bit surprised. And then the last excursion, again, nothing new here, but on Sunday, July 26th, so still a good 2 months plus away, Kitsune is making their return after a brief hiatus. They have a show called Stay With Me from Los Angeles, so I'm planning to attend this one. Of course, we're talking 7-8 weeks away, so a lot can change, but I would like to attend this one. They have a host of local independent talent. Emi Sakura is supposed to be on the show as well. And then they've announced Sayuri Namba will be their MC, and Sayuri is supposed to be making an announcement about Kitsune's next show on August 30th. So a lot to look forward to in TJPW, outside of TJPW. Like I said, things are slowly winding down a little bit, or maybe like regressing back to the mean. For the foreseeable future, I was looking at the calendar. We will have one show a week, which is like so much more manageable to watch than international tours and 3, 4, 5 shows a week. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's always nice to have just a little bit more free time. Like I said, as we get into summer, you could spend more time outside and all, but all of that being said, that will bring us to the end of this episode. I did tell you it'd be a shorter one, so I appreciate you guys sticking around and listening. It's been so short that I don't think you'll need cold spray in your ice packs, but I got them ready for you if you do. On next week's show, we're going to review that Shino Suzuki homecoming event, and we'll also preview Next Door in Shinjuku. We're also going to chat a little bit about the Aja Kong anniversary show next week as well, so make sure you check that one out in advance. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss any future episodes. You can follow us at Tokyo Joshi Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X. If you want to email the show, tokyojoshipod@gmail.com. But above all else, remember to keep your hearts burning, stay magical, my friends, and we'll see you next week on the Tokyo Joshi Pod.